This is the screencast for Chapter 9, question 9.5 B6. This problem is not as difficult as it looks because they're all future value problems to work out. We have to bring a number of sums forward to the focal date. As before, it's essential to get the timelines sorted out and to separate your borrowings from your repaying. So basically, we have two debts, one of $1,200, which was due 1 year ago, and one of $1,000, which was due half a year ago. They're going to be repaid, so that's the other side of the equation, by $800 today, and $1,000 3/4 of a year, or 9 months from today. X is the focal date here. We make a repayment of X. That's a balance payment on the focal date. And the focal date is 18 months from today. So we separate the question into two different sizes so we can make up an equation. E1 is the $1,200, which was due 1.5 years ago. 1 year ago, plus 1.5 years to the focal date, which makes 2.5 years at 10% quarterly, makes E1 at the focal date 1566.3. Secondly, we have the $1,000, which is going to be half a year plus 1.5 years, makes 2 years at the same interest rate, 10.8% quarterly, makes that one 1237.6 at the focal date. So we can add those two together. So at the focal date, your two debts are worth a total of 2803.9. They're going to be repaid by a total of 3 payments. One $800 today, one in 3/4 of a year from today, and finally one on the focal date. So now we're looking at the repayments. That's the other side of the problem. So that $800 today is going to be 1.5 years to the focal date, which makes up 938.7. We're also going to pay 1,000, that's this one here, 1,000, 3/4 of a year from today. So 3/4 of a year from that payment to the focal date, because the focal date is 1.5 years, is going to be 1083.2. So at the focal date, you've got those two repayments, 938.7 and 1083.2. So now we need to find X, which is the balance payment, to make your debts equal your repayments. So on the left-hand side we have E1 and E2, which we already found was 2083.9. That equals the sum of E3 and E4 plus X. So here's E3, E4, all at the focal date, plus X. So X equals the difference between 2083.9 and 2021.9, which is 782. So you would need to pay an extra $782 on the focal date to balance off the repayments. Thank you.